As Season 2 rolls in, I assume all the fellow rank grinders are finding the meta to be, well, exactly the same as Season 1, which I personally found a little surprising. And it sparked a pretty hot topic in the community about the balance of the game and the reason why we aren't seeing any meta shifts, that being the SA-12-16. A lot of people are claiming this weapon is just overpowered. I'm going to be breaking down some of the insane details about this weapon damage values, its time to kill, and much more when it comes to comparing weapons and their strength. Let's try to find out why this weapon is so strong in the current meta. And I'm pretty sure some of these details are going to shock you. First, thank you to my one and only member, Melly Joyce. Be sure to comment below how you feel about Season 2 and what meta you're experiencing in your ranked queues. And be sure to subscribe for more content on the finals. Let's take a look at the damage values that are relevant to this conversation. The SA-12-16's values are as follows. The damage is 91, which would be a total of 13 pellets, each doing 7 damage, the RPM being 230, or if you count in the cycling, it is 135.6. The DPS is 348.8, and with cycling, we are at 205.6. For the amount of shots you need to kill, on light, it is 2 shots, on medium, it is 3 shots, and on heavy, it is 4 shots. The time to kill on light is 0.26 seconds, medium is 0.52, heavy is 0.78. Now, considering all classes you don't need more than 4 shots to kill, the cycling time doesn't really apply to the TTK stats. I wanted to show you that just in case you wanted to have that value as well. However, even if you look at a heavy, you're able to kill it in 4 shots before you even have to cycle. Now that we have these stats, let's take a look at the second fastest DPS weapon in the game, which doesn't take into consideration stuff like the dagger, which would be a one-shot mechanic, and that weapon being the M11. Please keep in mind this weapon's values are pretty similar to the XP54 and the V9S in terms of time to kill. So for the M11, we have for damage 16, RPM 1000, DPS 266. Time to kill on light is 0.54, medium is 0.9, and for heavy it is 1.26. As a bonus stat, let's take the hypothetical approach that we are landing our headshots with 100% accuracy, and these are the TTK values we get. So if you are landing all headshots with the second fastest TTK weapon in the game, versus light it is 0.36, medium is 0.6, and on heavy it is 0.84. So in the hypothetical scenario where we land all of our headshots within our max damage range, we still have a slower time to kill than the SA-12 does. Keep in mind this weapon is on light class, which comes with 150 HP, whereas the SA-12 is on the heavy, which gives you 350. The M11 also has a pretty bad TTK at longer ranges and plays at a similar range that you would be playing with the SA-12. I understand at this point you might be thinking, well, that's a shotgun. You may miss some pellets because of the spread. If you are to miss 4 pellets per spray, a roughly 30% damage decrease, you will end up with TTK values of versus light 0.52, medium 0.78, and heavy 2.3 because of the cycle animation. So even if you miss 4 pellets, you still out DPS the second fastest DPS weapon. The next point is, well, shotguns can't really be compared to full autos, so let's compare them to the other shotguns in the game. So for the light shotgun, you have TTK values of 0 against light, versus medium you have 0.6, and versus heavy you have 4 seconds, which includes the fact that you have to reload. The DPS is at 250. And for the mediums model 1887, you have TTK values of 0.91 versus light, 0.91 versus medium, and versus heavy 1.82, with a DPS value of 140.8. Keep in mind both of these shotguns are in classes, again with lower health pools, and suffer from longer reload times or reload issues in general. The light having to reload every 2 shots, and the medium having to suffer from a pretty long reload animation that can be pretty clunky. At this point, please keep in mind shotgun TTKs and their DPS might feel offset because TTK values are calculated at the moment the first shot registers, which is why the light TTK looks great on medium and on light. However, this thing has the worst spread of the 3 and also suffers from really bad drop off. If you miss one pellet when facing a light with this shotgun, the TTK goes up to 0.6, and if you miss 20% of your pellets on medium, it goes up to 4 seconds, making these shotguns far inferior in DPS and consistency versus the SA-12. As a final note, I'd like to show you the average DPS of weapons in this game per class. So if we were to take out the average DPS of light, you get 195, for medium you get 152, and for heavy you get 173. And if you were to take heavy and remove the SA-12, you get an average of 143. Take this info as you want to. I just found it interesting that there is a trend of the lower HP class having a higher DPS as an average, but the SA-12 sort of breaks this pattern because of its absurdly high DPS values. Now typically I'd say you can just position further away, don't go face a shotgun face to face, and then just play at range. The issue is cash outs are often in close quarter areas. And even if they are in the open, the ability to drop domes and barricades and hold up a 1000 HP mesh means you can force close range fights by basically being unkillable at far range, especially if you're bringing two people with a very similar loadout. If a double mesh SA-12 team pushes a cash out, they can steal and then force you to come close with all of the shields and meshes, potentially barricades that they might be bringing in. This game requires you to play in close quarters in order to succeed on the objective. And this is why in terms of meta, we often see the strongest picks, often just being whatever has the fastest DDK, typically at close range, such as the FCAR and the SA-12. Now, if you're not someone who has been grinding ranked, this may not seem as relevant because all of the other modes tend to be overrun by whatever is fun to play, such as light, and not what is the strongest. I know pretty much every time I go into quick play, I'm just using some sort of goofy loadout, I'm just trying something new, or maybe just testing something before I bring it into ranked. I want to say Season 2 has actually been an amazing update. I've been having a lot of fun with all the new weapons and gadgets. I was just very surprised that they didn't touch the SA-12 considering a lot of the other nerfs that they ended up doing this patch. I'm hoping that we can see a meta shift soon. I also agree with the majority in the fact that the FCAR is still a very meta pick. I'm hoping that weapon could be looked at in the future as well. I'm not too sure what type of nerf would be good for it because they have nerfed it twice and it's still being a top pick. I love all the new stuff that they added. I was just hoping to see a bit more of it in ranked play. The developers have done such an amazing job with this season and I'm really excited for the future of the game. I'm planning on doing some informative guides on the new weapons and gadgets, so be sure to check those out whenever I get to them. Just give me some time to learn everything before I jump the gun and give you incorrect information or bad advice. I see a lot of potential in some of the new tools they've given us. Until then, have fun in the arena and I will see you in the finals.
I'm on the roof now. I had it.
SA-12s, bro. All I hear is SA-12s from every team. Holy shit.